Good evening, everyone. Now we have a beautiful drawing, well, a photo here, but we will work on it as a drawing. She's got thrust at the back, belly and rib cage at the front, hip, and her body's being kept by the weight of the body's been balanced by her left thigh and calf, but which we don't see the calf. Anyway, so before we start, look at that line here, a line which will give us, see, starting from that, taking that there, and then moving it there, and then you have the head, belly, I guess somewhere here it's her belly button, and then you have another correlated line which is elbow coming right down here on belly button, and then there. So elbow here, right down, and then up to the belly button here. Another thing to look at and to be very aware of is that roundness here of her hip. Hip. And then you have that shadow, which I can easily keep it going here to know where we are. Then you have the bum, the thigh here as well, and we have the elbow, as I said earlier on, and the head. The head gives away a lot of her gesture, which is basically it's moving back, and we see the jaw, which is the most important thing here being shown. Okay, so let's see the jaw, which goes, well, first of all, the shoulders are somewhere here, shoulders, then you got the head moved back, jaw, I think the jaw could go a little bit further up, so I can move it up here. Then head, which we do not see because it's, I mean, the hair, we do not see the hair as it is very, very dark background. Under the jaw, vertical line, you got the breast here, and also right there you got well, under the jaw, the line, we have the breast, as I said. Then you have the hand moving. See, take that line and move it like that. So that's the line here, look. Just under her breast, move out there. Then on the elbow, you got the under the jaw, you got the elbow here, and move it that way. Here we are. That's the thickness of her upper arm and palm, and her thumb. Now the thumb is just above her head. So if her head is here, I could move the thumb. Well, first of all, I think that length, so a wrist to the elbow is a bit long here. So move that back. There you are. Make it a bit smaller. And then upper arm, shoulder, neck, and you got the elbow there. And also her face is moving back. You got the eyebrow here. Nose, just we're seeing the back of her nose here. And the nose here. Well, this part, which is, look at that. So squint your eyes and you will see. It's a semisphere which moves down here, there, and then you got lip, mouth, sorry, mouth, lip, and the eyebrow, and the eyes themselves. Now the rest, just shadow here. And a little bit of background, which we'll get into under here. Okay, a little bit of sharpening my charcoal here. And the jaw under here, chin, and the ear, which is at the same level as the eye. There you go, same level, ear, right there. See, look at that. You can easily identify the jaw with the end of the ear. So there, neck, upper arm, elbow here, and move it up there. Now, because her hand, how to identify and make that work here? Because her hand, well, the lower arm is actually something like this. Well, you got the, and then you got that, which moves, the upper arm moves inside the background, so we do not see much of it. There we are. And the elbow is way higher. Look, the elbow is way higher than the head, so I could bring the elbow up to that point. Just make the elbow work from here. And here, there you go. That's the upper body. We've got enough of the upper body. Let's move down now. Down will be breast here. Got that line which aligns, I mean that part of her body which aligns with that shadow under her breast, which is something like this. And then you have the hip. And then you got this one here, which is right under her breast, right under her breast. That vertical line under her breast, and that's her crotch area, well, the shadow of the crotch area. So, and then a little bit further out, because with the hip, I think I went too far, too close to that. So let's bring that up a bit, out. For some reason this charcoal is not working, so I'm choosing a different one, a smaller one, but might be more effective. Yeah, I think so. It is more effective. There you are. Background, a bit more shadows here. So, see, based on my previous drawing, I'm going over those lines. I want to keep it, well, I'm trying to keep it a bit more of a sketch than a study. A study is a difference that you study it and you study carefully the mid-tones and the shadows, the darkness, the values. The sketch is more of the gesture, more about what's going on with the gesture than being a very detailed drawing of mid-tones and everything else. Middle of her body, rib cage, and then you have this part of her on the side of her body, which is her right side, which comes right here. And there. A bit more shadows here. We've got loads of dark background. Rib cage. See, it's a bit like a sculptor will work on it. A sculptor will identify the big masses which are of interest, which are those shadows underneath the breast, identify the curvature of rib cage and the lower part of the body. This one here, which is her hip. Then you have and the kneecap going right up here and connects with her her kneecap straight to the belly button. Kneecap straight to the belly button there. But as I said earlier, it's a lot of darks here, so we do not know what's going on. Just leave it in the dark. As the saying goes, leave it in the dark, and that will turn up to be what we need to be here. It's basically a gesture. It's a kind of a easier drawing than what we've done so far, as far as the design of the, there are loads of things which we do not deal with here because of the shadows that we have. Let's say that foot, that kneecap and that part of her right foot, it's not even there, so we don't have to worry about it. That's a nice dark shadow here. And her breast, this is way higher, her right breast, than the left. So the right breast is here. Charcoal. Going back and doing at least with that thin charcoal, I can identify where the shapes are. And then do them with a small charcoal then. Neck. There you are. And then you have the rib cage here. Under the jaw, the shadow. There you have it. That's the jaw shadow. The ear, which is on the same level as the eye, as we said earlier. And you got the head round it. Palm and the thumb. Now that is the thrust of that line is outwards like this. There you are. And dark in between those two parts of her body, which is hand and face, that's all in the dark here. The background, it's all very dark. Elbow and softer, slightly softer here, getting it that line like this a bit more. There you go. And half tone here on the rib cage, half tone here, half tone here. I could easily keep that as a half tone, it doesn't need to go any darker than that. Middle tone there, roundness of her thigh, there, and the other leg. Okay, let's see now, where do we place this foot here? Do we go where? Let's see, vertical line, that is a straight line from her wrist, right, oh, let's go back, straight line from her wrist, so from her wrist it goes straight to her foot, so wrist, straight line, down, down, down here. That's to her foot. Let me see, is that exactly where it needs to be? Yes, but then the wrist, that vertical line is far away from her hip, so I should bring, first of all, start bringing the hip a little bit further here, and then moving the wrist further to the right. See, these are adjustments that you could do here. Wrist. I think you needed that because that was a bit short. The distance from shoulder to the elbow. There you are. So from wrist now. That's better. That's a better solution there. Then you have calf, heel, and foot itself. Now let's see, how far down should I go with that? So designing the foot again, well, I was thinking, where's the middle of the whole thing? The middle of the figure, from the tip of her toes to the tip of her wrist. And it is, let me check it with a bit of more of an accurate measurement, which will be there, there. Right in the middle of her hip. So it's there. Okay. So that should be the same to me. So from that point, let's say, to the hip, will have to be the same as from hip to the wrist at the top. There it is. That's not bad. It's good. So we've got it. The foot is here. And how do you design the foot? The foot is something like, look, heel, toe, big one, and all the small ones are like this. Now the rest is shadow here. So you can treat it as a shadow here. Well, to be honest, here is such a dark area that hardly any sign that of how the thing go there. But we know from experience, let's say we have a little bit of, I'm talking about this area here, where there is a little bit of light coming through, which is something like kneecap, thigh, upper thigh, a bit darker the shadow of the hip, belly button, and the shadows of her muscle, rib cage, half tone, and actually that half tone just drags down as well. I'm talking about this area here, look. Here, that's a half tone, a middle tone you would say. Then we have the breast here. Then you have the shadows here. Loads of dark, well, that's a very dark tone here to start with. That charcoal has absorbed a lot of tabs here in my studio, so it's not working properly. It's not darkening anything. Okay, now get in the middle of her belly muscle here. That's the middle, which is that line here. Then you got the belly button around here. And then you have rib cage, and you got the breast, here, and that highlight, getting those darker tones closer to the light here, a bit more rounded. And then highlight here, that side, that part of her body, this one, her right hand side. More than anything, I need to, did I start doing that? Yes, I started doing this, the thigh here. Bring the thigh, bring that highlight closer to the other kneecap. You got the kneecap here, the thigh, the calf, and the highlight of the heel. And the rest is just a dark mass here. And the same down here. Okay, going too dark. But by darkening the background, I'll bring the figure at the forefront. So that's the whole idea here. Darkening the background and bringing closer the figure. Now, before I continue any further, I could go and soften those darks a bit more. That's it. Round here. Round her hip, round her thigh here, soften down with a brand new finger here. As I run out a lot of dark on the thumb here, so a bit. There you go. And then you have round her head, you got loads of darks here. And a very, very dark shadow here. The closer you get to the body, the darker it gets, especially the background and here as well. There you go. And trying to play around with the lightness of her skin tone here, right there, and then bring the background here. So see, further out her upper arm, elbow, not lower arm, that's the upper arm. Upper arm is here. You got that roundness of the shoulder here. Roundness of her belly. And roundness of her bum here. There we are. And I think I could go further up with the eyes here. I think the eyes could go way higher than that. That's the eyebrow. And then the eye here. And the nose is right here. The mouth. The eye. Yeah, that doesn't work anymore. This chocolate's done. Let's get another chocolate here to darken things a bit more. That's a darker chocolate here. And round up the face a bit more. There you go. The palm. It's darker here because you've got it under the shadow. It's the cast shadow, and then you have her upper hand here, got the wrist. There you go. Getting a bit closer now to the drawing, so you can see a bit closer the process. Sharpening up a bit more with another sandpaper. Right here, sandpaper a bit more. Darker here. Dark all this area. I'll do an experiment here. Come with 2 lines. No, it doesn't work. was going to do 2 or 3 lines, but it's better with 1 line. Well, I'm emphasizing a bit more like that. But yeah, not doing things that I was going to, to emphasize that more, because that's where you have, the more light you have, the darker the lines of her body becomes. There you have it. Then and the wrist. There we are. A bit more. Forehead, nose, eyebrow, eye, nose, and the mouth. And the ear itself, which is right here. And then you've got the jaw. And the shadow under the jaw and neck as well. I did notice on the neck it's a little bit short, so I'm trying to elongate it a bit more. Then you have that part of the neck, this part, which is in the original picture, that is here. Then you have shoulder, upper arm here, and the wrist. There you are. And that is a really, really dark shadow here. Okay, now I'm tempted to do something radical here. Get that shadow and then move it maybe softly onto her face. See, by doing this, I'm pushing the whole face backwards. I think that's better. Oh God, that doesn't work anymore. Oh, it doesn't work. All right, okay. Here, palm of her hand, elbow here, and we do not have that part of her hand, so it just goes off the page. It's not a problem. And that becomes also, see, move all these things backwards. Darkening all this area just pushes all these things, all the limbs at the, further back. And then it gives a lot more importance here. Bit of a half tone. And there you have it. There we are. And the thigh itself coming back, redrawing the thigh a bit more. There you go. Dark onto the thigh. And the knee cup. thigh here. And that brings the thigh forward. The thrust of the thigh forward. Again to the knee cup, working a bit more here. And the foot itself with all the toes here. See, giving the less importance to the foot at the back. Having it as a design, but pushing it back by putting it into a deep shadow here. Three, four, and the toes there. Okay. Highlighter. Highlight the breast a bit more. And you got the shoulder here at the top. Bringing that a bit more rounded, making that more rounded. A bit more rounded here. There you are. And highlighting the face a bit more. Clean up the putty rubber is to highlight the face, but before I highlight the face, I would like to emphasize a bit the length of the neck. There you are. Length of her neck. Ear, which is right at the eye. Bring the ear further up. There we are. And just a little bit of highlight here. And the nose itself. And the mouth. And the chin. And the jaw will turn up to make it, to highlight itself here. That's the jaw. Neck. And the eye. Hair around here. Eyelid, eye, and the nose itself. So I'll give a little bit of a rubber here. A bit more rubber. Nose. And the forehead. Being a bit more specific here. Eyebrow, eye. Got the ear around here, ear. God, what a face I've given her. Really bad. Okay, that's better. Then going to the initial design. I lost it for a while. Eye, mouth, cheek, and then got the chin. And the neck, as we said, the length of it. Cheekbone. And the chin itself, right here. Top of the nose, and then the eye, the forehead, and a bit of chin here. Sorry, a wider cheek here. Wider cheek here. And the nose. Rebrand the nose there. Okay, now let's go to the top of her fingers. There you are. And see, little finger, index finger, and the thumb here. And you've got the upper arm a bit more. Highlight it and get the brightness of her breast here. There we are. That's better. Oh, then yeah. The figure. Bit more thigh. Roundness here. Kneecap, which we don't actually see. And there. Breast. And highlights here at the back. Could darken it a bit more, I could, yes. And then doing the line, so double line on this side instead of the other. And whilst I'm here, I could rebrand that with a very, very dark shadow here. I know it's not called rebranding, but trying to be innovative here. You know, making a dark impact there. Okay. Now the face is not the best, but let's call it gesture drawing. Well, it is more of a gesture drawing than a portrait, of course, so there you go. It's not a portrait. Portrait would have gone better, but the paper is on its last legs. See on to the next one. A bit brighter here, a bit brighter there. I could go a little bit brighter, yes, why not? Although that becomes, see here, just moves with the background. Becomes one with the background. Now if I I see. That's a bit disturbing. It's very dark. You lose the line like this is better. It's better. And a little bit darker here. Okay. See you in the next one then.